What do you think?
Right over there. Joni was.
Not yet, huh? Not ready for that yet, huh?
We don't do 2-for-1s anyway.
Yeah.
You want to move that chair? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we will. Okay. Yeah. Hello there. Monty Rabbi Paitovsky, BMA. It's been a while since I've seen you. Rabbi Paitovsky. That's right. Straight across. Good. How are you?
Any seat. You know, if you guys want to sit in front or. No, you can sit here and move.
So yeah, we all have our homage to me. Thanks.
You know, grandma's.
We're gonna visit.
Hey, Michael.
Michael Z, told my grandma birthdays.
It's your first year day. It was rough. It was about 10. Do you know where though? What state?
Well, I think that.
There's a website to find it. All right, as you look around, it's all important family here.
I think everybody's service.
Except I don't see Michael. I don't see Richard. Richard's here.
Oh, Richard.
Be a pallbearer, Richard. Nice hat. How about I ask you to walk behind this once I make your way to the hearse, that would be great. Richard, do you need a hand? It's Richard. Michael, you need a Richard's fine.
If need be, I can do it.
Don't need you.
I have to eat lip balm. I haven't seen him in 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know who that is? I have no I know, but you're not going to catch me. We'll put it to that one.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Beyonce Sam.
We met like.
I talked about the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are upon service time. If I could remind everyone to please turn off your cell phones. I'll invite you to come just a little bit closer. You might be able to hear the rabbi cantor better.
Oh, it's about to start.
Hey, Lou.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you to sit down, but I also need you to listen to the call there.
Okay.
Okay. You got that list of the-
I-
Sunshine.
I'm right there.
Any of my sunshine, I lock these. Okay.
So I'll sit here. So I can sit by my
Bateau.
No,
Oh.
you sit there. I'm going to sit here. Okay. And Richard's gonna walk behind. I will put my cousin in the bay. Where you at?
Yeah.
You guys go over there. You guys did you see the deep? Okay. And that's everybody, right? The deep, Matone. Where's Lee? Lee Waldman? Oy vey, in the bay. No, you said your dad. Yeah, it's sure.
Okay, fine. Joyce beat us. Right here.
What?
Let's wait to see if anybody else needs it.
No, there's plenty of seats. You come sit down.
Leonard Weiner. And Marlene. She's not there yet. Marlene.
Oh, it's he showed it to my son. I'm sure he'll know.
Said, we're having a beautiful day. You're gonna sit there. Sit down. Oh, sit where.
See?
This man could
Did you say hi to me? You want to sit behind me?
Yeah, it is.
That's not a problem, but you gotta get real close. You got your car. No, you got Mitchell's car.
Yeah, that's your son.
We always begin with one of the Psalms of King David. This beautiful Psalm 23 speaks about finding rest in green pastures. We wish her a safe journey. Bismillah le David Adonai Rohi lo echsar binotesh yarbitzeni al menuchot ינעלני נפשי ישובת ינחני במגלי צדק אוי למען שמו כמה כי הלך גץ על מוות לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי שבדך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צור, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רבניה, אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
The cantor just chanted Psalm 23 in Hebrew. Let's offer it together in the familiar English version. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Our God and God of our ancestors, our rock and our Redeemer, 1,000 years in your sight are as a passing day, an hour of night. Our generations come and go while you endure forever. We are always in your hand, O Lord, in death as in life, trusting in your love and in your judgments. O Lord in heaven, strengthen those who mourn the loss of Helene Louise Zerobnick. Help them look beyond this moment to realize that death can never destroy the bonds of everlasting love. Sustain them with the knowledge of our faith that you do not abandon souls to the grave. You would not allow your faithful to suffer oblivion. You, O Lord, have taught us the way of life. Through you, our refuge, we gain eternity. And let us all say, Amen. Good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, I guess I should say. I'm Rabbi Chaitowski from BMHBJ, a synagogue with which the Zerobnick family, in different iterations, and members of their extended family have had a long association. When I received the notice that Helena passed away and that Louis was reaching out to me to officiate, there's quite a bit going on right now in our synagogue and with me, but I wasn't going to say no to Louis, and I was not going to say no to Helene and her family. One of the things that drew me to Denver from the East Coast many years ago was that there are reportedly more than 300 days of sunshine a year. And I guess we could not have planned a better day than today for even for this. I'm not sure if that was always the case here. I'm not sure if BH, before Helene, there were this many days of sunshine. But I know from the moment she came into the world, and you could see it in her skin, that there's rays and rays and days of sunshine. And she was blessed with the kind of presence that could be a ray of sunshine. Her bright presence could make even the cloudiest of days a sunny one. And now, of course, after Helene has completed her journey here on earth, for many of us, those who knew her really well, members of her family, of course, the sun shines a little less brightly. For her family, her friends, for the community which she was a part of, and indeed for all of us. In meeting with Lewis yesterday, who was accompanied by Jody, we had a marvelous, rather free-ranging conversation about how we are going to remember Helene. All of you here knew her. What could anyone possibly say that you did not already know? Well, Lewis is going to share some stories that maybe not everyone knows, and we will give him that opportunity in just a couple of moments. But what I seem to learn about Helene had to do with that sunshiny personality, that bright willingness to share. And some of the things that were shared with me, one of them being ironic, our cantor normally could have started today's funeral in honor of a woman with Eshet Chaya, woman of valor. For some reason, Helene made it clear in her arrangements for her funeral that that was not to be chanted or said at the funeral. I hope I don't pay a price for even mentioning that. But the irony is, according to Lewis, is that she really was an Eshet Chaya. She was a woman of valor. She was a devoted wife. She was a loving and caring mother. She was all of these things, and she was much more. Her care and concern didn't only extend to her immediate family, but when the kids were growing up, when Lewis and Mitchell were growing up, extended to their friends as well. Helene was always seen as sort of the cool mother that you didn't mind hanging out with. And their home sort of became a magnet for gatherings after school, and even more than that, if there was someone in need, someone maybe going through a difficult time with their own family, they could find a place to rest their head for a few days or longer at their home. And that was really an amazing thing. She didn't want to draw attention to that. It was not her nature to do that. But this was a very special kind of person. She also was an amazingly friendly individual who could talk to almost anyone. Lewis pointed out to me that the person that he's named for, Grandpa Lewis, on his stove says something about strangers becoming friends. And we all know the old line that, a stranger is as someone that hasn't yet become a friend yet. And she was like that. She could reach out to people, she could engage with people, she could talk to people, and within 15 minutes, they'd walk away and they'd think that they had been lifelong friends. It's not as if she didn't have lines that couldn't be crossed. I mean, there were. I mean, she could get angry and she could raise her voice and she could lose that sunny disposition and smile every now and then. But it was forgotten 5 minutes later, and everything seemed to be balanced and back to normal. She was blessed with a sense of humor, one that was often self-deprecating. She was bad at something, golf, let's say. She knew that, and she had a proper perspective about that. She loved animals and spent part of her professional career, if you want to call it that, as a cashier at the zoo. And she volunteered at the zoo. And I asked Lewis if any representatives of the zoo were going to be here today. And he said he didn't think so because when she was there, the people involved are probably no longer involved. But the kindness extended not only to human beings, but also to animals is a very important thing. Jewishly, she together with her husband provided a strong Jewish background and a strong Jewish anchoring for the family. They happened to keep a kosher home, at least for many, many years. And all holidays and Friday night dinners were celebrated either at their home or very close by. They apparently had the largest home. And everyone gravitated to there. And everyone walked away with a really strong and proud Jewish identity. They loved Israel. They loved Judaism. They loved their family. And Helene was certainly at the forefront of all of that. When I asked Lewis to describe her in 5 words, he couldn't stop at 5, of course. But he mentioned happy, caring, loving, sincere. He said most importantly, she was engaged with all the things around her, especially all the people around her. And she was genuinely interested in people and their stories. She listened to people and she learned from that kind of listening. This past year was not the easiest year for her, and maybe there was a different Helene that some people experienced this past year. But those who knew her well knew that deep down and underneath it all, with all the difficulties, the true sunshine Helene was still there. And we should not cast away the first number of years, the bulk of her life, simply because in the last moments of her life, she was a little bit more difficult, perhaps, than any of us might have imagined, than any of us expected. That is what it means to live a life. And to her credit, she was surrounded by many people who loved her. Her husband, 2 children, angels, really caring for her and putting all aside to care for her, in spite of some of their own difficulties and doubts. But they came through in a marvelous way for the only mother that they had and for the only mother that they loved. And when I asked Lewis what you learned from your mother, he said everything. And he reminded me that she was just the best. And what better tribute from a child to a parent than that? I'm going to ask Lewis to come forward for a few moments to just share some personal memories and reminiscences about his beloved mother. A blessed one.
not a great speaker, so I need props. Anybody who traveled with my mom probably recognizes this hat. Anyone who's ever been to my parents' house probably recognizes the bowl of shells. And probably every one of you has a shell in this bowl. So, I want to start by saying that the last year was really rough. And I'm really proud of my brother and myself for getting through it and for taking good care of mom. But we didn't do that alone. We had caregivers that helped us. And there's a couple of them that I know are here today, and they need to be recognized for the stuff that they do. This is Helen right here. Helen was amazing for my mother. She played music with her. They talked. She got to know Helen's family. She was just an amazing caregiver for us. And I'm really glad that she took the time to come out here. And from my brother and myself and my dad, thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for us. Where's Faith? This young lady right here, this is Faith. She's just an angel. She helped me realize when it was time to get a hospital bed. She helped me realize when it was time to call hospice. And she was there with us every second of every day until mom passed. So there were other caregivers. I don't know if they're here, but we had a lot of help. And I'm so grateful for that I can't put it in words, the respect that I have for you guys. I got a little thing from my cousin Danny. So we're going to start by reading that. Dear Zerobnick family, we were deeply saddened by the loss of Helene. Although no words of sympathy can ease the pain you bear, may you find some comfort in knowing that we care. We will remember Helene as she was a happy woman who cared for all, enjoyed life, and it was a great time to spend with her. She loved people and animals. She was always there to support our family, especially during the loss of our parents. One of the highlights we cherish is when she gave our son Ido the opportunity to experience what it is like to be a weather forecaster on a real TV station. Mutty, Mitchell, and Lewis, you were blessed to have such a wonderful woman as Helene. She is already deeply missed. Rest in peace, Danny Rippon and family. So I'll change up what I was going to say a little bit since I read that from my cousin. I need to say thank you to my mother and to my Aunt Diane for the fact that I know my family from Israel and we're friends and we know about each other's lives. We didn't always have the internet like we have now to talk to people. Literally when I was a kid and my mom and my Aunt Diane would talk on the phone, it cost $27 a minute to contact Israel and to have the conversation. And my mom and her sister, they worked really hard so that we had a family that knew each other, knew our history and everything like that. And I'd say it's a huge tribute to both of them because my family's standing here. My family from Israel is standing here today. So congratulations, Mom and Aunt Diane. You guys did a great job. I took a couple notes. I don't have a big speech to make because I had a problem with my finger yesterday and I was soaking it in some Epsom salt water and spilled the Epsom salt water into my computer, which no longer functions. So we're kind of winging this today. I don't think that'll be a problem. Years and years ago, my late wife Sherry and I took a trip out to Berkeley, California, to a place called Cafe Gratitude. And while we were there, we met a pretty famous guy and his brand new wife. They were celebrating their wedding. His name was Michael Franti. His wife's name is Sarah. They kept in touch with Sherry every anniversary until we passed away. And I still hear from them every anniversary since she passed away. So I thought it would be appropriate to start my little speech today with some words from one of Franti's songs because I think they're really appropriate. You know, today would be a very good day just to have a good day. You know, today would be a very good day just to have a good day. With a little more love and a little more laughter, a little more good vibes and less disaster. You know, today would be a very good day just to have a good day. Today is a good day. So if there's anybody here that's not smiling, wipe the frown off your face and smile, because that's what my mom would want to see out here. Okay. It's very hard to feel sad and sorry for my brother and my dad and I. We've had a great life. You know, everything went pretty well for us, even all the way up to the point when mom got sick and we couldn't take care of her that much anymore. The promise that we made to mom and dad, and that was from me and Mitch, was to keep them together, to keep them in their home, to keep them safe, and to keep them happy as long as we could. My mom died at 8:31 a.m., which is very significant to me since my birthday is August 31st. While she was in her sleep, in her home, with my father there and with me holding her hand. So it was a very peaceful, the end of her life after everything that we had gone through. The bowl of she sells is significant because every one of you has your own stories about my mom. And that's why we're going to get together a little bit later for a little while so you can talk about it. Because I think what I've been told in the Jewish tradition is that the reason why you have the gathering after the funeral and you stand there and you tell the stories and everything like that is because her neshama, her soul, will be up above us listening to what we had to say about it. So don't talk any bad stuff when you go over there. One of mom's key things in life was she loved to introduce us to people. Wherever we went, it didn't matter where it was. And, you know, same thing with my brother. You know, come over here, I got to introduce you to this person. You come over here, I got to introduce you to this person. So one of the most memorable ones for me was one day when I went to visit her down at the zoo, and there's Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, standing at the booth. And I walk up, and she comes out of the booth, and you didn't just do it like in the booth. She comes out of the booth, and she comes over, and she goes, Shaquille, I'd like to introduce you to my son, Lewis. You know, I'll never forget that. And there's hundreds of things like that, hundreds of times. When I was in junior high school, my mom was a demonstrator of appliances down in front of, what was it, May DNF, New Standard, one of the big stores in the Cherry Creek Mall. And she used to work with a lady named Madeira Webster. Her husband was a basketball player, the human eraser, Marvin Webster. And one day after they were working, they went out to dinner, and I was at home sick, and I was in mom and dad's bedroom in their bed when they came home from their dinner. And who walks into the house but Marvin Webster? Walks right into the bedroom, his afro dragging on the ceiling. That's how tall this guy was. And my mom looks at me, she goes, well, I know you were sick, so I just wanted to bring Marvin Webster here and introduce him to you. You know, so there's just hundreds of stories like that. Glenwood Springs, you know, loved to be there and had hundreds of friends that were up there all the time. And I wanted to send the picture to Feldman's, but for some reason with the computer not working, I couldn't find it. But there's one picture that's like my favorite picture of my mom. And it was when Taylor was maybe 2 years old. It was my dad's 70th birthday. And we were up in Glenwood, the whole family celebrating. And mom's out in the swimming pool with Taylor, and she's holding her up above her like this, and just the biggest smile you could ever imagine. You know, those are the kind of things that when I think back now and think about my mom, those are the things that come to mind. You know, the way that she was when she passed away, it faded away for me about 10 minutes after she was gone. You know, I started to remember who she was and all these great stories and things like that. Friends from childhood that are here. Where's Sandy? Sandy's here. Phyllis, all of you ladies. I mean, I've learned so much about the fun that you all had when you were growing up, and the stories are awesome. So, like I said, I got a great picture of you last time that mom saw you. It was when we were coming home from another funeral and we stopped at your house. So, yeah, there's there's no reason for us to be sad today. There's a definite reason to celebrate a life well lived. My mom was awesome. I really don't have much more to say than that. Mitch and I had every opportunity. We had all of the support. You know, they told us what to do. When we went out and did it the opposite way and did it wrong, they were still there for us. You know, so Dad, you too. You guys were amazing. Had great parents. Thank the caregivers. You know, and just a testament to everybody standing here is Mom's pride in family and friends. I mean, that was what she spent her time on, was her family and friends. And she cared about all of you. And she was engaged in your lives and what was happening with you. So that's what I'll take away and remember my mom. One story about the sacrifice and stuff like that. My mom was scared to death of driving in the snow. And I remember a long time ago, it's probably junior high school, my friend Evan and I had tickets to a concert at McNichols Arena to go see Kansas. And it was a huge blizzard. I mean, huge. So we were thinking we were going to miss the show. And what happens? Mom drives us down there and stays and goes to the show with us. So just an amazing person. Lots of sacrifices. I played the drums in junior high. She was always dragging my drums from school to school, concert to concert. She found herself locked in Hill Junior High School one night after a band concert because she couldn't find me. You know, we just had a really good life, and I'm proud to have been her son. So I think in closing that, Mom, you remain with me every day and in every way. Thank you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. And may you stay forever young. Thank you guys for being here. Did you want to say anything? No, you okay? You okay? Thank you very much.
Jim? In just a moment, we're going to reenact an ancient custom which involved the tearing of clothing. In the ancient world, or even the not so ancient world, people didn't have wardrobes of clothing. And to rip clothing was a significant investment financially. And to simply rip it as a sign of grief was an emotional investment as well. There are many people who still do that today. The traditional, the Orthodox world, that's what people do. They rip a jacket or a tie or a shirt. But not everybody wants to do that. But the significance of this custom is such that we encourage everyone to at least symbolically do this. And we're going to be doing it today. We're going to make a blessing and we're going to say, and we're going to tear a little ribbon. And then after that, I'll start putting earth into the grave. And then I'll ask the family members who want to do that to come forward. And then anyone who wishes to place earth into the grave can do that. The only caveat is that we suggest that people take the shovel on their own and not have someone hand it to you. It's not a COVID thing. It's just, it has to do with the mitzvah, the tremendously altruistic good deed of doing something for someone who will not be able to do it for any of us. So we want to maximize that. So when you grab the shovel, you place your earth in, you put the shovel back into the pile of earth and let the next person come and pick the shovel up on his or her own. I'm going to be asking the immediate family to rise if they're able. blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai. Eloheinu melech haolam. Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the world, and we believe it is a righteous judge, the judge of righteousness. Yashov ha'afar al haaretz v'shahaya v'haruach tashuv el Elohim asher nitzana. Dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns unto God who gave it.
You could begin to come forward if you would like.
Mike Joshua. You live near BMA. Yes. We're not through the ball through. How are you? I'm good. It's amazing what he does and doesn't. Most of the bad things I did, he remembers. Go write it down. And I did a lot of bad things.
This is my fiance.
Oh.
I was thinking we should give that to each other.
Next few days, we'll be telling. Remember that concert?
I do.
Really? Yeah. Wasn't that the night that we cooked a steak in the microwave for 10 minutes too?
Exactly.
I thought so.
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right. Good. I'm doing a lot better than I expected. I know there will be a breakdown that comes at some point, but it ain't now.
Girl, too. There was no one
Remember all the good things.
Oh, yeah. Everybody just plans this. Hi. Yeah. Did I do okay? Good. It's probably better that I didn't get a chance to write anything down. Huh? You're gonna miss her for sure. Oh, are we standing in front of the camera, blocking it?
Hey, I make a better door than a window.
Well, Mr. Silverberg.
How are you?
How are
I
you?
hired him for some estimates.
You hired him?
I couldn't say no.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
I don't want to hire him.
Yeah, I can understand.
We can just tape it and record it.
You did, it's hard.
Hi. Are you coming over? I just want to make sure if you do come over that I get you your casserole dish back. We've had it for over a year. To my dad's 90th birthday party. He's about to be 92. And I've had it. No, it's been over a year. She turned 86 on the 13th of February. So being buried exactly a month later.
Louis, that was a beautiful words. I was very moved.
Thank you.
Oh, I really was. Sometimes those things go rambling the wrong way, but we went the right way.
Did. I think that was the last that she got out. She loves, I mean, that writes her day up. Right? She loves it. Yeah.
I gotta go over to this. 12 spring 10-year-olds. Yeah, it's hurting Jack. It's hurting. It's right across the street from my house.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I told Louis Sylvia.
we have two more things to do this morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
We're going to do the Tziduk Hatin. I'm sorry. We're going to do the Tziduk Hatin. We're going to do it now. The grave is not quite filled. Something else she didn't want was that people to fill the grave to the top. I don't know what that was about, but it is a beautiful tradition to have the grave filled. But we're going to pause for a moment. Our cantor is going to do the Tziduk Hatin, and then we're going to have the mourners say the mourners Kaddish for the first time for their mother. So please give your attention here.
It's a lot of Hebrew words, but it basically says that God is the righteous judge. And that was the bracha we made before. Jeff said it so beautifully. We should be celebrating her life today. And that's really what this talks about. עצור תמים פולותי חול דרכיו משפט אל אמונה וינבל צדיק וישר הוא עצור תמים בכל פועמי אומר לו מטיפה השליט במטה ומעם ממת מחיה מוריד שעל ויעון צדיק אתה להמית לה ולחיות אשר בידך פתאון כורחות חלילה לך זיכרונו למחות עיון עיניך ברחמים עלינו וכוחות כי לך אדון הרחמים והסליחות האדם אם בן שנה יהיה או 1000 שנים יחיה מה יתרון לו כי לא היה ברוך דיין האמת ממית ומחיה גדול העץ ורב הליליה אשר עיניך פיקוחות על כל דרכי בני אדם לתת לאיש כדרכיו וכפרי מעל עליו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא הבלעת בו אדוני נתן ואדוני לקח שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם.
So Mitchell and Lewis are going to say the mourner's Kaddish, and we'll keep that in mind as well to say the Kaddish. The mourners say Kaddish. We answer Amen to the Kaddish. And for those who may not be totally aware, Amen is one of the smallest words in the Hebrew language, only 3 letters. There's only a couple of other words that have 2 letters. But 3 is sort of a really short word. And the purpose of Amen, some people believe Amen is a contraction of a phrase, El, begins with an Aleph, Melech, the ruler, Ne'eman, trustworthy. God is the trustworthy ruler. Whether that is the actual derivation of Amen or not, it certainly sounds nice. But when answering Amen to a blessing or Amen or Amen to something that is said, what we're really saying is we agree with the sentiment expressed. And we're trying to move that sentiment out into the universe. So whenever you hear a blessing, whenever you at a place you hear a Kaddish said or anything, and you can say Amen, you should say it. Because if we don't say it, the opposite is true. We're making it a little bit more difficult for the sentiment being expressed to get out there. So we're going to say the Kaddish together, and you'll know from me, if not on your own, when to say the Amen. Yitkadal,
Yitkadal, Yitkadash,
Shnei Rabbah, Amen.
Yamad, Yibrach, Yute, Yamlech, Malchute, Vayechon, V'yomechon, Vayeh, the whole Beit Israel. Ba'agala, Uzman, Kariv, Yimeru,
Amen. Yehei Shnei Rabbah, Mevarach, Leolam, Lomei, Olmaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitroman, Yitnaseh. Yithatar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shemei, Dekudusha, Berichu, Le'elam, Mikol Berchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata, V'nechamata, Damiran, Yoma, V'yeru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah, Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'meru, Amen. V'seh Shalom, V'brama, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'meru, Amen. We have a memorial prayer.
The Jewish people have a beautiful tradition, especially Ashkenazi Jews, that we name our children after our loved ones who have passed away. And Helene had a beautiful Hebrew name, Chana Leah, which is perfect with her English name, Helene Louise, and her parents, Beryl and Bela. So you'll hear that. Male Rachamim Shocher Bameroni Hametzenu Chanechona Konfer Ashechina B'mahalot Kedoshim Adiyarim Kezar Arakia Mazehirim Et Nishmaha Chanaleya Bat Beru V'Braina Shehalecha Le'olama Began Eden, oy began Eden Tehem Menuchata Anabal Rachamim Hastireha the Seder Knafech Leolami Utzeror Bitzeror Achaim Et Ishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar
O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure. To the soul of Chanaleah, the daughter of Beryl and Raina, who now rests in her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you to remember the many worthy and righteous deeds she performed in the land of the living. May her soul be ever bound up in the bond of eternal life. May she ever rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. We're going to conclude the service in just a moment with the formation of a double line. So one line will face me, the other line will face them, and the family is going to walk through the line, and we're going to say a couple of words after me, one at a time. But following that, and you go to your cars, there's going to be a period of mourning and condolence calling at the clubhouse at Candlewick Condominiums on East Mississippi. There are two condominiums. Which one are they going to?
They're actually going past the buildings to the clubhouse.
Okay, the clubhouse.
And there are signs that if they haven't taken them down, you guys are right.
There are signs there, and that's going to be today following the service until about 4 p.m. Your presence there would be a fitting source of tribute as well as comfort to Helene's family. We'll form the double line, if that's okay.
Yeah, from this way. We're gonna come down this way.
They'll come right to right back to their cars.
Don't you do that, man. Stop and say hello.
Guys, we're gonna have them come right through
Okay, buddy.
here.
Thank you.
Folks, they're gonna actually go this way right to their car.
As Lewis and Mitchell and Mutty make their way through the line, we say the following words to them. המקום ינחם אתכם בטוב. אבלי ציון וירושלים. May God comfort you among all who mourn in Zion and for Jerusalem. Shall we all say, Amen. The procession is finished. You may return to your cars.
That's good.
Thank you. That's great.
You want to stand here? There's room. Well, they kind of already passed us.
You can return to your cars if you wish. Feel free.
You see her?
That does-
How the hell did I not see you?